Hello, everybody. This is Fernando for the latest Las Vegas casino podcast. Well, I just do these videos sporadically. Anytime I come across an article that I want to talk about Vegas news here, or I go see a show, something that I wanted to do a review for, or sometimes even interviews with people. And you've seen some of those past entries here, such as the interview I did with the beautiful Sarah Slot Lady, now known as All Casino Action, and then some other people around interviews too. But in this case, I wanted to focus on a new show, a review for it, which is a fantastic, magical show that still has my jaw dropped. Like, I have no idea how some of those tricks were done. I mean, more on that here in a minute. But I wanted to feature it here because if you haven't had a chance to see it just yet, this will be a fantastic way to experience a very up-close magic show in Las Vegas that is great not just for yourself or if you go there with a loved one, but also for family members all around. Really great stuff. But it's from a magician by the name of Losander, and the show that I went to was called Magic Up Close Show. So let's go ahead and let's talk about that review here. I'll give my thoughts and opinions, and then that way, hopefully, it'll help introduce you to this really, really good show. Now, for starters, I wanted to mention this. I do not receive anything when it comes to these reviews, nothing. And it comes to all of my past videos that I've done reviews on too. I'm a full paying member of this show, meaning I paid full price. I'm not receiving any future discounts or commission or anything like that. No other benefits like freebies when it comes to future free shows, nothing. So I mentioned that all up front because this is a 100% honest to goodness review, just as is me when it comes to this particular video. But yes, I went in to see the show completely blind. I had no idea about it. It just happened to pop up there on Groupon. And I knew I was going to try to see something new when I went to Las Vegas. I love magic shows, so I thought, why not? Let me try this out here. And also, it was stating that it was going to be a more intimate show, which it really was, like when it comes to the setting and the number of people there. Just me, based on experience when it comes to this stuff, my opinion only. But I've been to both magic shows that are really, really large, like we're talking auditorium, couple hundred plus people there, and I've been to magic shows that are very intimate, small group of people, like less than a dozen. If I had to choose between the two, I definitely love the more intimate ones. It just makes for a much more memorable experience. You're right there. You're up front. You get to see everything. It's very VIP status. I think it just makes for a much more memorable time as opposed to just being a number somewhere in some row, like let's say row 36, something along those lines. Now, in this case, you get to be right there up front. I mean, that's what the show is called, right? Magic Up Close Show. It's located there at a theater called the Las Vegas Magic Theater. Never been there before either, but it's very easy to get to. If you know where the Pawn Stars pawn shop is in Las Vegas in the downtown area, it's literally 1 block away, probably even less than 1 block away from that location. So if you're doing a lot of tourism there and you happen to go see the Pawn Stars area, then you're very, very close by to this location. This Las Vegas Magic Theater was beautiful. It looks very nondescript from the outside, but once you're inside, it definitely was built with magic all the way. Like, it's a darkened atmosphere, cool atmosphere too, because it's really good when it gets hot in Las Vegas. Lots of lights everywhere, candle lights as well. The VIP area that's the one that I was in, constitutes of some nice couches, some leather couches, some fur couches, or fake fur, in other words, with some coffee tables. You're also greeted there at the tables with your own private label, like when it comes to your name there. And then also, if you're in the general admission area, you have those intimate, small, circular tables that are yours, along with 2 chairs and so on, all of them lit by candlelight. And whenever you go there, whether you're VIP or general admission, you get pretty much unlimited popcorn and then also some bottled water. Again, really good stuff when you're there in Las Vegas, especially when you're walking around a lot. Cool atmosphere, good places to eat, snacks, in other words. And then what I was surprised at most was walking up to the Las Vegas Magic Theater, and there he was. There was Losander right there, along with some of his assistants. That definitely left an impressive mark. Him and his assistants, they're there to greet everyone that walks into the show. I never really seen that with any other show. They treat everyone like an established guest, like somebody that is welcome at all times. You're sat down privately to your location, and then also Losander himself goes around and talks to every single person before the show starts. That also made a very good impression on me, because he would literally go to every single table, ask people where they're from, give a little bit of history on himself, and he did that with me for a little while too. He was able to tell me that he's been doing magic for over 30 plus years, and he's traveled the world and visited so many countries, probably even more countries than the number of years doing all of his magic. And then he finally decided to go ahead and just do a permanent show here in Las Vegas area, and then that's where this was set up as far as the magic up close show. And it makes sense too, because it's a great place to do it, obviously. Now it goes by several iterations too when it comes to the show. I think it's also called the Candlelight Magic Show, and then I saw another one also called the Masters of Magic. Again, the one I saw was called the Magic Up Close Show. I'm guessing they're all around the same, maybe a couple of different magic tricks here and there, but you definitely have your pick to choose from. And the pricing was pretty good. On my end, it was $39, if I'm not mistaken. And then there's an option to upgrade to VIP as well. And so the costs there are very, very negligible. And then also, again, whenever you go, then you'll be able to go there with groups of family. I don't know if Groupon offers further discounts for that, but check it out. You might have an opportunity. Now, as far as the show itself, wow, it's like a slow burn. It's a slow buildup of simple tricks that keep escalating to more and more complex tricks. Like the first couple of tricks were just some standard card tricks, and I'm guessing it's just to warm up the audience. But the rest of the stuff, I'm still scratching my head, especially on how some of it was done. Like there was this trick involving catching a bubble in the air. This is a bubble that he would create just out of thin air, like the little toy bubbles that kids make whenever they blow into the little device that creates the bubble itself. That's what he was doing. He was doing that, but then he caught one of the bubbles within a handkerchief, like a magic handkerchief, and then when he did that, the bubble solidified, and then when that happened, he was able to carry it around. I mean, it was just amazing for him to be able to see that. Another one involved the levitating cane. I guess you could call it a cane, or I guess you could call it a walking stick. But it was a trick where he was causing this cane to be able to float into the air, and he would twist it around. He would move it in circles. And also these tricks, he would go into the audience as well to showcase that it's not something involving, let's say, streams from the ceiling itself that happen to be catching these things. No, he would go straight into the audience. One of the most amazing tricks, though, that he kept doing involves tricks of the mind, like something where he almost knew what was going to happen. One of them involved me, actually. It was him placing a deck of cards in front of me. He showed me those cards. He showed me how many different names were on it. It's like 50 something cards with 50 different names of women on them. And he said, just pick any card out of this stack, any card whatsoever. He wasn't pointing towards any. He wasn't influencing me on any. He just said, when I'm flipping it around, just tell me to stop at any point whatsoever. And when that happens, that's the trick itself. And so I went in, and then I kept going and going, and I finally stopped just on a random name, Emma. And then he said, good. And then when that happened, he pointed towards a deck of cards that was lying against the wall the entire time, from the beginning of the show up until that moment. And when that happened, he said, now go ahead and turn that deck of cards around. And when he did so, handwritten on it was the word Emma. I mean, how do you do that, right? How on earth do you do something along those lines? There was another trick where he brought up another audience member and he was telling them to close their hands and then put one hand down with the other one still closed up on top. And then he was doing things on a piece of paper, like drawing on their hand, on a fake hand. And then he said, now open your hand. And lo and behold, she had ink marks in her hand, exactly looking like the one that he did on the paper itself. I mean, wow. I mean, you just don't get better than that. Then there was more tricks involving disappearing and appearing bowling ball. And then there was another trick involving these, I guess you could call them metal cylinders, something along the lines of hoops, if you could call them that. How they were locking together and then opening together out of thin air. These were solid metal, no openings that I could see. He was even bringing it around to the rest of the audience, and he would show, and then he would see easily, both quick and slow, how they would almost melt into one another and then become separate at the same time. There was another similar trick that he was doing with some chains that were going through his fingers. And again, it's solid chains. These were chains that he would bring about to the audience, to me. He would say, test out these chains. No loops that I could find that would open, nothing like that. But probably the greatest trick that I saw was a floating table. It was really, really amazing stuff, because he in turn brought that table out, and then he got me on board to come up to the front, and then he was asking me to hold a tablecloth, which I did, and then lo and behold, the table started to float. I was flipping up the tablecloth too, because I wanted to see what was causing it. And me being at the very front, I saw there was nothing, no strings, no metal, let's say, clasp, nothing else in terms of a metal device, a string, like a I don't know, a coat hanger or something that was causing it to stick up. No, nothing along those lines. And he would bring that table to the audience again. It was a real table, a real solid wood table, but he was causing it to float as if it was nothing. And then if you thought it didn't dare, no, because once that was done, he simply twisted the handkerchief and he caused this metal table to completely disappear, just right there, right in front of us. I mean, we were gasping at that point. Those are just some. There's still some more tricks that he has, but just some of the examples that he has from the Magic Up Close show. So highly recommend it. If you're going to Las Vegas, go see Losander, go see this show. You will not regret it. You'll have an intimate experience. It's probably about 60 minutes or so. And you'll have a great time from the very beginning, being greeted by him and his assistants, and then getting, again, all that free food, and then being able to see something like this up close. Well worth it. Absolutely, please do so. So 5 out of 5 stars, and great stuff. And just in case if Losander is happening to see this video all along, just want to say thank you again for a great show, and I'm definitely going to try to catch one of your other shows sometime in the future. And then maybe sometime in the future too, if I go see him again, I'll definitely try to interview him here for my channel. All right, everybody, thanks again as always. Go please see this show. Highly recommend it. I'll include the links below. Thanks again, everyone. Take care. Bye.